Hello everybody, Patrick Glenn Nichols, Muscle Car Barn Finds, and today I'm out here just outside of Detroit, Michigan. I traveled up here today to inspect and authenticate and do a video on this 1970 Chevelle Super Sport that's from the Flint, Michigan assembly plant. Today we'll go around the car and look at some of the characteristics of this car and the ins and outs and touch base on some of the things that have been changed and some things that are original. And I'm sure my viewers would like to follow along and love the walk around videos. And so here we go. Again, this car has been parked since 1976. It was born at the Flint, Michigan assembly plant, which is pretty rare. We've been over this before. Those 70 Chevelle enthusiasts understand that Flint, Michigan was on strike for the greater part of the first part of the year. So most of Flint, Michigan cars you will see will be post February, March, after that sometime. This is an April car. Most of the components on this car are either February or March. So here we go. Again, parked since 1976. It didn't make it very far from its assembly plant. We're just outside of Detroit, Michigan, and we have a Flint, Michigan Super Sport car. So right off the bat, we see that the front end has had some damage and it has the amber parking lights, which is not correct for a Super Sport. So that's the first thing that you'll see. They were either changed or the whole bumper has been changed, and I'm going to go with the whole bumper has been changed because the whole front cap, front clip has been changed. If you look, you can see on the inner fender still has the original General Motors decal. Of course, the original assembly line unit would not have had that. Also, a Flint, Michigan car would have had plastic inner fenders. You can see those were changed when the car had the accident. But this car does have a 396 9854 engine block, which is correct, 2-bolt main with the 290 heads, all of which is dated prior to March. And the stamp on the front of the engine, barely can see it. You have to superimpose it for the CTW. This is an automatic car. The Quadrajet has got away from the car, but you can see I'll try to focus on the casting dates if we can. This is A28 of 70, that's January the 28th. You can see the 290. You see the dual line for the 768, which is correct for all L34 cars, which this car is an L34. And you can see the C17 for 70. The intake, the 287 intake, is dated B27, February 27th. And you can see the 290, if I can focus on the 290 on this cylinder head, you can see that there. So, appears to be the original engine to this car. I know Flint, Michigan was known to put the VIN, partial VIN stamp in either of the place up on the front engine pad and down on the oil filter boss down there, but it is so faint that you cannot read it. But my judgment says that this is the original engine to this car. If you look at the back, you can see February the 4th of 1970. The other side says 396 9854. Again, this car has been parked since 1976. The Turbo 400 transmission that resides in this car is dated 415th day of 1970, so that would be of 1969, excuse me. So that'd be about the 50th day of 1970, which would be around February the 19th, which definitely works and coincides with a April car. So here we go with the cow tag. We see 70 and two-door hardtop 13637, the Flint designation. And then we have the body number there, of course, 756, of course, for black bucket seat interior. And then the 1717 for shadow gray upper and lower. And then the 04A for the first week of April. Another thing I want you to focus on, which we've looked at in the past, you can see the correct location and grommet for the tack and gauges. I've also been into the dash, and it has the correct Boy Nancy BN designated dash wiring harness, which is also correct for for the tacking gauges. And if you'll look lower for the hole where nothing is residing at this point, if we can focus there, a lot of things in the way. Right there, the hole to the bottom right, that would be for the cowl induction. This car was born with the cowl induction hood as well. So the whole front clip, as far as the fenders, the original hood is here, which I will show you. Now we can focus on the interior. This car also has both of the original quarter panels and doors are still with the car. So we can focus on the original General Motors VIN decal. The interior to this car is 100% original. It has the original carpet. The bucket seats in this car actually look like they will clean up and can be used. There's not even, I haven't found a rip in them from my investigation so far. Not a rip in one of these seats. We got Super Sport in the dash, and we got the, if you'll notice, the low 5,000 RPM tack. So a lot of unusual things took place at the Flint, Michigan assembly plant. And those of you that are aware, we've been over this before as well, there's no such thing as a Flint, Michigan build sheet. So the only way to investigate that tachometer would be to remove the dash pad and get the ink stamp off of it, and at that point you can just make a judgment call if the actual gauge setup is dated to the car and the likelihood that it was changed. But it definitely does not look to be changed at all. This is definitely a U14 tack and gauge car. Also, if you'll notice, you see it has the AM stereo, UM1 stereo and tape. So this would have had the 8-track player and stereo speakers, and you can see we have speakers on the front, left and right, not the center speaker, which would have been on a standard radio. Please forgive some of the background noise. I think somebody is outside doing some work. And you can see for the dual rear speakers, which have been correct for the stereo speakers. To focus on the correct, if you see the 13637 in on both sides of the original quarter panels. It's original bumper pad to the car. This bumper's never been off of this car. And it appears to be the early version bumper. I don't know if most of you are aware or not, but there are two versions of these bumpers. The early version was attached with studs and does not have this place, a little flat place for the actual taillight lens to set. It's like a step. And on the later version, it will not have that, and the taillight housing is attached with bolts. It's not slotted, it's just there are holes. The early version is slotted. So we can look at investigate the trunk a little bit. You can see the original spatter paint never altered. That quarter panel is definitely original to this car. You look at the inspection marks on the original weather stripping, still there, still visible. And most of the trunk area looks pretty good. And this car has a CCF rear axle dated March the 20th. But the remnants of the posi-traction decal is pretty much gone. Again, the date on the rear axle is March the 20th. Casting date, February the 27th. There are no provisions for Malibu chrome in the quarter panels, in the doors whatsoever. So we definitely have a 396 350 horsepower L34 SS396 70 Chevelle here. Lots of miscellaneous parts are here. The original carpet's still in this car. The original riveted door seal plates are here. And the factory, the shadow gray with the SS in the front grille, still here. But I'm really amazed at how nice these bucket seats are for their age. Of course, it's been here since 1976. Nobody's been inside this car. And the carpet looks bad, but I'm going to say there's a possibility that would even clean up. Of course, I'm a real big fan of original equipment, so I'll save anything that can clean up and is worthy. If it becomes a 9 out of a 10, then I'm probably going to use it. Okay, also can see here the 7-inch balancer, which is correct for a L34 396. This particular time and chain cover for a 454 car always had the 8-inch balancer, which would have a taller, and there would be a slot cut out of the advance and retard indicator on the timing tab. So we have a 396 350 horsepower. The front clip is missing. The engine is correct. The transmission is correct, and the rear axle is correct. So what we have here is technically a numbers matching driveline car, but the VIN is so faint on the engine that you just can't read it. It's that faint, but everything is dated to the car and been here that long, so it's definitely an authentic car. You don't see many Flint, Michigan super sport cars anymore. Cal induction, and I'll show you the Cal induction hood here in a second. Of course, the original power disc brakes, all of the mandatory super sport equipment is here. F41 suspension, so forth and so on. Car was equipped with power steering from the factory. That was another option, along with the D14 gauges, bucket seats, automatic console, D55 console, positive traction, and Cal induction. I'll walk over here and show you the Cal induction hood. And that's the hood to the car. And it's definitely in need of major repair. Quite a bit of rust on the underside of the car. But we definitely have an SS396 Chevelle here, shadow gray, upper and lower. I hope you enjoyed this video of this 1970 Chevelle SS396 from Flint, Michigan. Parked a long time since 1976. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate all the input on my channel. If you need assistance authenticating your 1970 Chevelle and need my endorsement, you may contact me at Patrick Glenn Nichols Muscle Car Barn Finds on Facebook and YouTube. And you can also contact me at pnichols26@yahoo, which is my email. Thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I really appreciate all the input on my page. Thanks again. More videos on the way.